This is Tier 2, Lesson 3 on exponential growth. So remember that the general form of an exponential function is this a times b to the x power, where x is your input, f of x is your output, a is your initial value, and b is your growth factor. So when we talk about growth factor today, we're going to talk about percent increase and decrease. So we'll look at an example and then we'll come back and add a note here. In order to save up money to start a food truck, we deposit $5,000 into a bank account that accrues, means it accumulates, it gains more, 2% interest annually, so each year. So what we're doing is we're gaining 2% interest. So first of all, 2% is 0.02. Remember, that is not 0.2, right? Okay, 0.02. This would be 20%. I would normally be multiplying by 1, but I'm going to add my growth rate. So 1 plus r is going to be my official growth rate. Because if you think about it, if I multiply by 1, it's not going to do anything. If I multiply by 2% or 0.02, that's actually going to make it smaller. But remember, it grows 2%. So the growth rate is going to be 1 plus 0.02, which is 1.02. And if I were to multiply by 1.02, that would make it slightly bigger. It's very close to multiplying by 1, but slightly bigger, and that's that 2% increase. So when we want to write a function that represents the amount of money in the account after X years, we're going to call our output M, money, equals, our initial value is $5,000, times our growth rate, 1.02, to the X power, right? Because it's annually. And remember, we talked about what happens when you don't do things annually. Then we're going to fill in this table for this to find out how much money the account will have. So after 0 years, this would be 5,000 times 1.02 to the 0th power, right? 1.02 to the 0th power is 1. So this is 5,000 times 1, which is 5,000. Then we're going to plug in 1, right? 5,000 times 1.02 to the 1st power. And let me plug that into my calculator. 5,100. Okay, then we'll look at 2 years. So all I'm going to do is make this 2. And I'm going to keep doing that for 2, 3, and 12. Let me get all of these values. So you can see the growth. At first we gained $100, then we gained $102, then we kept gaining little bits at a time, and now it started to really grow exponentially.